I have a rich experience of about close to 3 decades in the army, and I bring the crucial values of integrity, resilience, fairness, and accountability to the boardroom. And there's always an underlying theme of service before self. And I would like to make a meaningful impact through these values to the boardroom. Experience I can recount is during my tenure in the surveillance unit, wherein my UAV officers were continuously operating in a high intense environment, carrying out the surveillance operations. And sometimes the senior commanders were not happy with the approach that we were using, and they used to send a lot of pressure down the chain. But I had to insulate my team from all those kind of pressures. I had to absorb all that pressure, and at the same time manage their emotions so that they could focus on the operations and achieve the mission success.
What's truly remarkable about your journey is how seamlessly you have blended operational leadership with managing people, often in some of the most intense, high pressure environments. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Sani Pancholi, and today we have someone whose journey brings together strategy, resilience, leadership, and governance in the most remarkable way. Joining us is Colonel Rakesh Dogra, a decorated Army veteran with 28 years of distinguished service, now charting a path into the world of corporate governance and board leadership. Colonel Dogra, it's truly an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward for our conversation today and to share my experience with you and the audience today. Thank you.
We are genuinely excited, Colonel Dogra. After all, it's not every day we get to hear from someone who has commanded high stakes operations, managed large scale talent and resources, and now brings that rich perspective in the corporate boardroom. Today's discussion promises to be a deep dive into leadership that's been earned, tested, and now reimagined for the next chapter.
Absolutely. I must say that leadership is a continuous learning experience. And I'm glad that I'm here with all of you to recount those experiences and share my journey with you.
Absolutely. So, Colonel Dogra, while your introduction speaks volumes, I know it's just the surface of a journey that's been full of experiences, decisions, and defining moments. So, could you take us behind the scenes a little bit in your own words? Could you walk us through your career journey and some of the milestones that really shape who you are today?
Absolutely, it'll be my pleasure. I think my whole career journey I can divide it into four distinct phases, and the first phase relates to my foundation days of schooling and the training academy. And I can still vividly remember the day about 40 years back. I was standing with my father, holding his finger, and standing in front of the imposing gate of my alma mater. It's called the King George Royal Indian Military College of Ajmer. And there I had a grueling experience of 7 years of a tough military-like environment of boarding life that really shaped me from a tender young boy into a strong-willed teenager. And those 7 years taught me the value of discipline, teamwork, and military leadership. And thereafter, I had a seamless transition into the training academy of that is called the National Defense Academy, Khadagwasla, which is also called the Cradle of Leadership. And 1 year at the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. These four training years instilled in me the foundation of the military life and made us really tough, gave us all that courage, and instilled the values of character building in us, basically of the integrity, honor, and courage. And thereafter, we moved to the second phase of my career. That is when I became a commissioned officer. And we moved out with the Chetwood credo in our heart, which says that the honor, safety, and welfare of your country comes first, always, and every time. The safety and welfare of the men that you command comes next, and your own safety and comfort comes last. always and every time. So I think that is the mantra with which I have moved throughout in my service career. I can also recount certain very telling moments of my service life when I joined as a young officer in the army. My first meeting with my Subedar Major, who had a experience of 30 years, and found that he was not saluting me, and it really hurt my ego. And I said, I'm an officer, he is supposed to salute me. But then he said, sir, you're supposed to earn your respect and not command it. So I learned with humility the importance of spending time with the soldiers, bonding with them. And as a matter of rule, we had to spend initial 45 days living in the lines with the men, the soldiers that we commanded, and we were not allowed to enter the officers' mess. So we had to undergo the grueling, routine that the soldiers had to go through. So that was the foundation in which my young officer days were built in. And thereafter, I also learned the value of the Naam, Namak, and Nishan, that is for which a soldier fights. And I can tell you that a soldier can lay down his life for this Naam, Namak, and Nishan, which is the izzat of his unit, the loyalty, and the service to the nation. So these were the mantras by which I have lived in my service throughout. Thereafter, I came to the middle phase of my career, wherein I became a staff officer with a lot of learned senior commanders, where I had to conduct the operational briefings and make the operational plans for them. So this really taught me the personality of the senior commanders, and some of them were having the directive style, and some of them were having a participative style of command. And but everyone had their own strengths, and which helped me later to own my skills for the senior leadership in the later years of my life. And then coming to the final phase of the senior leadership, I think it is a dream of every officer to become a commanding officer of the unit. And in a challenging times of the surgical strikes, I got the command of a unit which was responsible for the surveillance and target acquisition in the Northern Theatre. And in every challenge, I must say, lies a great opportunity. And my unit performed exceedingly well. And we were awarded the unit citation by none less than the Army Commander, and we received appreciation from the Prime Minister's office. So overall, I must say that my journey, my career has been extremely fulfilling, and that has shaped me as a leader with empathy and a true style of military leadership, which I think can be emulated very well by the corporate.
Thank you for sharing that so honestly, Colonel Dogra. It's powerful to hear the human journey behind such a distinguished career. Incredible, incredible.
Absolutely.
So, continuing our conversation, Colonel Dogra, what's truly remarkable about your journey is how seamlessly you have blended operational leadership with managing people, often in some of the most intense, high pressure environments. So, I'd love to hear from you. How important has emotional intelligence been for you alongside strategic thinking, especially when it came to building trust, loyalty, and resilience within your teams?
Absolutely. I think emotional intelligence has been embedded in me since my childhood. And as I told you about the tough experience of the schooling and the training academy, I think on the face of it, emotional intelligence appears to be counterintuitive. It may appear to undermine an authority or respect. However, I feel that in the military leadership and corporate leadership, both emotional intelligence is a very, very important component. And in the intense operational battlefield, where the ambiguity and uncertainty is always at the highest level, you have to be able to manage your own emotions and the emotions of your team. And I can recount two distinct experiences of my service, wherein I was posted in Rashtra Rifles in Jammu Kashmir in the anti-terrorist operations. And it used to be very intense operations day in and day out. And we had a lot of pressure, firstly, to eliminate the terrorists, and second, to prevent any human rights violations or any collateral damage to the civilians. And there used to be 24/7 operations which were having a lot of toll on the minds and emotions of my soldiers. So I had to be with them continuously, motivating them and telling them the importance of the human rights in that kind of a scenario, wherein any hasty decision could have meant losing lives of innocent civilians, and that was absolutely not acceptable, and it could create a blemish on the image of the unit. So such were the high intensity operations where the emotional intelligence played a very, very important role in decision making. The second experience I can recount is during my tenure in the surveillance unit, wherein my UAV officers were continuously operating in a high intense environment, carrying out the surveillance operations. And sometimes the senior commanders were not happy with the approach that we were using, and they used to send a lot of pressure down the chain. But I had to insulate my team from all those kind of pressures. I had to absorb all that pressure and at the same time manage their emotions so that they could focus on the operations and achieve the mission success. So I feel that emotional intelligence has helped me to build a kind of a rapport and understanding and trust with my team, and that has been an underlying theme in my military career.
Absolutely, Colonel Dogra. That reaffirms how leadership isn't just about strategy, it's about truly understanding and connecting with people.
Yes, absolutely.
So, moving ahead, when we hear about leading and administering operations for over 1,000 personnel, it's almost hard to even imagine the scale of responsibility that comes with it. So, could you take us inside that experience? What were some of the key systems, mindsets, or leadership practices you leaned on to keep such a large, dynamic ecosystem not just functioning but thriving?
Absolutely. This experience of leading over 10,000 persons was in the Asia's largest training center, which had about close to 1,000 persons of staff and about 10,000 recruits. And the biggest strength of such an institution is always the kind of systems, processes, and the layered structures that exist. And it does require a hands-on leadership on the part of the leader to be involved in all the day-to-day operations, and whether it is going to the drill square, firing the range, weapon training, or even the administrative issues in the lines, you have to be present at different times of the day at different places. And you cannot leave it absolutely, to happen on its own. At the same time, you have to have a certain kind of a decentralization and empowerment of the junior leaders and the trainers, wherein they have a kind of autonomy to have that authority and exercise themselves so that the system keeps functioning smoothly. A highlight of this experience was during the COVID scenario, wherein the COVID restrictions came into place and we had to quarantine a very large number of recruits with the restricted, limited medical facilities available. That was quite a challenge to firstly meet the medical requirements and secondly keep their morale sky high, as the mission oriented training was also a priority for us. But I'm really happy that with the kind of hands-on leadership we had, we were able to put together a nice teamwork and pull through the institution through the COVID scenario, and we came out with flying colors.
Incredible, Colonel Dogra. It's amazing how leadership at that scale still comes down to simple yet powerful principles. Thank you for sharing that perspective with us.
Thank you. Absolutely.
So, when I think about your journey, balancing tactical operations on the ground with the big picture strategic thinking, in today's business world, volatility seems to have become part of daily life too. So, I would love to have your perspective. What mindset shifts do you believe companies and leaders need to genuinely cultivate if they want to stay resilient and forward looking in such unpredictable times?
Absolutely. In the army, we use two terms. Firstly is the fog of war, and second is the tolerance for ambiguity. And they say that the plans are the first casualty of war. And I think you would agree to that. And like in artillery, which is my arm, we have to provide firepower to the assaulting infantry over the enemy objective. And that firepower has to be synchronized to the last second, because any firepower assault delivered at the wrong time can cause telling damage to our own troops own safety of the own soldiers. So for that, we have to always remain mentally flexible, because at any time there can be unforeseen events in war. And when the infantry advances, they can come under heavy fire from the enemy, and we may have to immediately delay the delivery of the fire assault. And simultaneously, we have to continuously keep in communication with the people on ground and keep on modifying our plan of firepower accordingly. So I would say that adaptability and flexibility has to be built in all our plans. In a certain real life instances that I faced in the Rashtra Rifles, we used to be going for various operations, carrying out coordinate search operations on a routine on suspicion of terrorists hiding in the villages. However, sometimes we used to get time sensitive information of a terrorist in some other place, and you had to divert all the resources, all the manpower in the fraction of a second to a totally new place. And in the heat of the moment, you have to immediately brief everyone and make sure that they get focused for the new task. So that is the kind of flexibility and amongst the unpredictable scenarios that we had to build in. During my surveillance operations, similarly, when the unmanned aerial vehicles or the drones used to be operating in a planned kind of terrain mapping of the enemy objectives, we used to sometimes immediately get a information of a live operation happening in some other place, and we had to direct all the surveillance operations to that area. So that required a kind of flexibility, adaptability, and real-time problem solving. I would say the same thing applies to the corporate sector as well. We need to move from a centralized environment to a decentralized environment, where we are able to empower and build teams which are capable of taking decisions on ground. Secondly, we need to have a transition from predictability to preparedness. So there would be scenarios where the market dynamics will shift in a very unpredictable way, but our teams should be prepared with the kind of agility and adaptability to have that kind of a mental transition. And I would say there is an example of the same with TCS when the COVID scenario took place. They shifted the complete working to the remote working from home system, which enabled them to manage such a global force efficiently, even during that restrictions of the COVID scenario. So that is how the flexibility has to be built in. We need to value the adaptability over perfection. So that is also very important to value, that culture of learning and evolving always. So that is, I think, the learning that and the mindset shift that the corporate needs to incorporate.
Absolutely, absolutely, Colonel Dogra. Mindset often makes all the difference between surviving and leading through change. Thank you for sharing that insight. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
So, Colonel Dogra, after such a distinguished journey, as you stand at this exciting crossroads, I would love to hear what are some of the aspirations that you continue to drive with personally, and looking ahead, how do you envision bringing your experience and values into the boardroom to help shape the future of organizations you will be a part of?
Yes, I think I have a rich experience of about close to 3 decades in the army, and I bring the crucial values of integrity, resilience, fairness, and accountability to the boardroom. And there's always an underlying theme of service before self. And I would like to make a meaningful impact through these values to the boardroom. Uh, I have the ability to see the bigger picture along with, being grounded in the details of the issue as well. So my leadership experience has taught me that even during uncertainty or even in duress, I can do effective decision making. So I would like to contribute in the boardroom by asking the right questions, ensuring a kind of a level of transparency, and also bring in a long-term vision that balances profit with purpose. So I think this next chapter of my leadership needs to be a phase wherein I am able to give back to the society and ensure trust in the governance and We need to stand for something which inspires trust in everyone, and that is how I think I would like to shape the future of the organizations.
That's inspiring. That's truly inspiring, Colonel Dogra.
Thank you.
So, in today's world where organizations are expected to lead responsibly and sustainably, I would love to hear how do you personally view the role of ESG shaping the future of companies? And how important do you believe it is for leaders to embed these principles into the foundation of decision making?
Absolutely. I think my defense background is rooted in the responsibility, sustainability, and work ethics. And in the army, we take a lot of pride in ensuring transparency in all our dealings and all kind of administrative functioning. We also take our environment very, very seriously. We have dedicated uh, eco task force in form of the territorial army, which ensure a lot of afforestation in the hilly areas. And we are always called upon to help during the environmental disasters. The army cantonments stand a testament to the kind of green environment that the army gives to any city or state they are present in. The army is also part of a lot of welfare initiatives. We have Asha schools for the special children. We have a lot of welfare institutions wherein we look after the soldiers and their families. And even when I was in Rashtriya Rifles, we used to do a lot of operations with Bhavna projects in which we were, doing small kind of hydel projects or something which used to bring electricity to the villages. So such kind of social initiatives are always part of the army. We also participate in government initiatives like de-addiction campaigns, wherein the army officers or the ex-servicemen are roped in to spread that awareness among the population. So I think as a independent director, I would take the ESG very, very seriously and emphasize on the transparency and building kind of inclusive ecosystems and not just profit oriented enterprises. That would be my focus. And I feel having ESG reflects a leadership with integrity and vision, which is supposed to be a hallmark of success in the today's world. So that would be my focus area.
Let me tell you, Colonel Dogra, it's leadership views like yours that truly move ESG beyond checklists into real action.
Thank you.
So, with the kind of leadership journey you had, stepping into the world of corporate governance feels like such a natural progression. I would love to hear what has your experience been like so far with Directors Institute?
I think it has been my good fortune and privilege to be part of my this journey from battlefield to boardroom governance along with the Directors Institute. And the recorded courses as well as the live classes have helped me immensely to understand the corporate governance, the risk management, and various nuances related to the job as an independent director. And it has actually expanded my horizon and perspective in all these spheres. And it has aligned my leadership values to what are the demands of actually a boardroom, what it actually does require. And I'm really thankful and grateful to the Directors Institute for providing me this opportunity and this platform. And I'm sure it will help me in my journey to become an independent director.
Wonderful to hear that, Colonel Dogra. It's inspiring to see how learning platforms can truly fuel new leadership journeys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So let me tell you, Colonel Dogra, it's been truly fascinating to walk through your journey, the discipline, the leadership, and now the exciting transition into the boardroom world. Conversations like these are a real reminder of how much experience and thoughtfulness shapes the future of organizations. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journey so openly.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure on reflecting my journey and sharing my beautiful experiences with you. And I'm really grateful that I've been given this opportunity to be on this platform and share my thoughts with the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Colonel Dogra. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning into FaceTime with Leaders by Directors Institute. Until next time, We look forward to bringing you more conversations that offer a rare glimpse into the minds shaping tomorrow's leadership. Until next time, take care and have a nice time.
Thank you.